masculinity and femininity anymore. It's just, okay, they want to do it and they're not doing it. Well, then something is in their way, and it's usually themselves.
Yeah.
It's just their narrative. Oh, I'm too afraid to do it on my own. Okay, but if you've got that realization that you're too afraid to do it on your own, then challenge yourself and set yourself above it. And there comes the obligation in life again. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, what are you going to do at your deathbed? My grandma was too scared to go into narcosis.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Faark The Shoulds podcast. I am Jodi from QuantiMama and I am delighted to be having this conversation today with one of my favourite people. I would love to introduce you to Miek Paulus of Ket Baker, mainly because she's just a superstar, but also because she makes really delicious things as well. Miek, welcome to Faark The Shoulds.
Thank you, neighbour.
Yeah. So we do know each other, and I mean, I love having good chats.
Well, why do we know each other so well, Jodi?
Well, maybe because you very kindly paid me for a little while I did a terrible job looking after stuff at Ket.
She was excellent.
There we go. Consider that a referral. I'm going to put it on my CV.
Yes.
Miek,
it'll be gold.
That's right. As I said to you, I love conversations that we have these conversations anyway, we're just recording it. So today I wanted to get inside your head because I do think you are a should farker, as I would say. So you call things what need to be called, you get the job done, you have an attitude of par excellence, which is well known, I think, why people know the Ket Baker name and it's so wildly popular. But you also do that whilst building the empire and staying in your divine feminine, which is this space of like luscious creativity. So I want to go there today.
All right, let's go there.
Cool.
Let's go there.
So
I think if I'm going to cut you,
on.
I think if all of our conversations would be, all of the conversations we've had in the past and in the future would be taped, I think that would be worth $1 gazillion.
Oh, we could do that. No probs.
It's too juicy.
I know. Well, because we always go there, right? I treat it like having a good coffee. I won't drink shit coffee just in case I get hit by a bus and the last coffee I have is, a terrible one. It'll be my last.
You're such an Aussie.
Well, it's the same thing with the conversations. We're going to have a great conversation because it might be our last one. Cheers to it not being.
Cheers to that. Yeah. Cheers to that. On a good tea.
Yeah,
a good
with
tea.
Good tea. Yeah, it is good tea, I promise. So Ket, for people that don't know about it, and it's outrageous if they don't, as you know,
yes,
it's based on the Bellarine Peninsula. And you've been operating for around 10 years, just had the 10-year anniversary, which is a beautiful thing. So it started with babes on the hips and just doing the hard yards and going to markets, but always maintaining quality. And that was always my observation when I was, seeing the inner workings of Ket, was you didn't just kind of put something out there and go, oh, you'd be right. It was like every single day you are paying attention to what is going out. And that can feel, I don't know if it's an Aussie thing, but it can feel like, oh, wow, she's pretty anal about stuff, right? And we can kind of go, oh, that feels like a bit overdone. But in fact, now I view life from the prism of what does that say about the energy that's being invested? The energy that gets invested into even the details around the sourdough pastries that go out every day, the sourdough breads that go out, all the other things that Ket does, there is such a high investment of energy and a commitment to bringing that excellence out to the community, like you want to serve the community. Firstly, how does that go day to day? Like, is that exhausting? Because for people not doing it, it must sound bloody exhausting. They must just think, I'd just rather put on Netflix, Hot cup of tea and just sign off.
Boring.
Yeah. I thought you might say that. Well, so, I mean, I know your days are big. They're big. You're just on, and you start early and then you finish late, and there is a deep commitment to what you do. But it's like, I see you apply energy equally to the lamination of a croissant to the next big thing at Ket.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
I can go into the bakery and make a dough.
Yep.
And then 5 minutes later, I will have some kind of business call with flour up until here, so nobody sees it.
Around the waistline.
Because it's a fun thing. Mind you, I do not actually do any hands-on work anymore. That took me a while to just piece myself with it. But because I was a lot in that intro, first of all, my dad used to always say to me, if you do something, you do it right. And
but people often stop there.
this yin and
They
yang.
do it right and they don't do anything further. Like, got it right.
Well, they don't, or people, no, there's a lot of people that half-ass shit.
Yeah.
Or they then, well, yeah, you know, define right, right?
Yeah.
You know, some people think right is, you know, like a half-assed pastry. But, yeah, I don't know.
How do you maintain the energy for it?
So I don't have a reference point. My reference point is myself.
Yeah.
And I've got a vessel full of energy, but mind you, I'm depleted. I know I'm depleted because I'm also a woman, and unfortunately, damn it.
Fortunately.
No, well, yeah, you know,
you're
I
the
think
chalice.
yes, but I'm also really good in, you know, squeezing everything out of myself, and I love it. But then my body is like, F off, Miek, and I'm like, shit, I've gone too far. So it's almost like I've got two personalities. No, that's not true, actually.
No, I think
I have this one personality,
100%.
but I need to have like, you know, I need to have like, you know, the reminder that my body needs to be able to follow.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not 20 anymore. But, and the thing is, I did far less when I was 20 than what I'm doing now. I remember when I was in Belgium working as an engineer that I felt that I wanted to do more. So I'd come home and I'm like, I want to feel more useful. I want to do more. I want to make a difference. So I got these crazy projects on my shoulders that nobody wanted to do. And then I was like, yes, I'll do it. So I always had that in me.
Do you think that's a quest to learn and produce products, as in produce results of some, as in move the needle? Do you think that's where it comes from?
It's because my mom, so then first my dad, now my mom. My mom has this insane talent and she's never done anything with it in her life, or not enough. She never moved the needle with it. And when I was like, I don't know, 15 or something, I read The Alchemist of Paulo Coelho. And I closed that book and I was like, you know what? It's going to be different with me. I just made a promise to myself that I was like, I need to feel that I live this life and I take absolute everything out of it. And that makes me very happy because we're all in this world and it is important that we do the right thing in this world and that we do our little bit and we create our little Garden of Eden around us of goodness. And then when we're not there anymore, one can only hope that it continues in one or the other way, whether it is by example or whatever. I don't know, it's probably by example. But
you create enough momentum within that activity.
Yeah. And then now this is the thing with Ket Baker as well. It's like a train that keeps on going. And I'm like, well, you know, I might as well then just really make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because after me, if all of this ends up dead, Like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I've put so much time and energy into it. And so again, the reason why I put so much time and energy to it is because I owe it to humanity. Like, that's kind of it. Like, we need to all understand that we're on this planet, and we're here to make this planet a better place in one or the other way. It doesn't really matter, but we can't just watch Netflix and drink a cup of tea. Like, what's the use? I mean, like...
It does seem to defeat the purpose of being here to live this life in
Yeah.
a skin sack.
Yeah. Yeah, why?
And
Be
feel
numb.
the discomfort with that growth as well, because I imagine there must be a fair bit of discomfort that happens when you are growing an empire.
All the time. I love it.
Yeah, so you've actually tipped... I liken it to learning to run, right? That's my reference point, because I hated running and then had what could have been a catastrophic back injury, and then decided, nah, fuck it. Someone said I'd never run again, so, well, never start. And then I decided to run a half marathon, just to basically, do the middle finger to that advice. And there was a good point where I was learning to run, and the mental thing was the biggest thing, right? Just every single step, I fucking hate running, I'm doing this anyway. And then at some point, the drug kicked in, and I went, oh, this is feeling really good. I've lost it now. But I know I can recover it. And I wonder if that's where you're at, is that it's like that discomfort, you know that it brings the gold at some point as well.
Yeah. So, and I say that to the kids often, as well. The grass isn't greener on the other side, but it actually is. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So if you push through, the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah. Like, the grass isn't greener on the other side when you flee.
Yeah.
Because that's most of the time when this expression is used,
yes,
right?
That's right.
But if you push through and...
Are we talking new property acquisitions? So in fact, you flip that phrase on its head and go, the grass is greener when you buy the adjacent lot and you have double the land. So you actually get to so you get to grow the empire, because actually when you go there, that's part of that motivation. You actually harness that. Yeah.
It's also because, people need to kind of know that, we're a vessel of contradictions, and whatever is good for us, the complacency kicks in, or the scared, it's IFS, the scary people kick in. And where with me, it's like, what is really juicy for me is like growth, learning, and growth in learning, and learning in growth, like smartening up, and then having the feeling that I was useful in the world. So if I know that that is what really drives me and those are my values, then I will engineer my life around that. And there are absolutely the complacent mix, and the lazy and up or me meek and whatever. But then I'm like, hold on, these are not necessarily gonna make me happy. And I gotta kind of stay in my value, and then push through those stories and those narratives that, and I don't really know why they're there. Like, it's also, I think the society we live in, we get grass-fed. We get spoon-fed, actually, grass-fed, spoon-fed, with, you need to be gentle, and you can't do too much, but this is really hard for me to be living in a world where the narrative is take rest. As much as you possibly can, where the drive is actually what makes me happy. So this is really a personal thing, that it's very likely that a lot of people need to live their lives watching Netflix. I don't know. But for me, it's always been very contradictory, as in the society we live in, and the stories and the narrative that's in society. And so because of that, that's for me the pushing through. Because I'm also a good girl and I'm very obedient. Although everybody thinks that I'm like a heavy drug user and, you know, like bend the rules, cross of all the rules and do everything that, you know.
Yeah,
no,
the
I'm
rebel.
not. I've always been the good girl. I've always been the good girl. Like, you know, my mom said to me, you know, if you come home at 12 p.m., a.m., you know, then, and you do that for 3 months, we will make that into 2. And I was like, well, I'm going to listen to you because then I can stay out later. So in my brain, I'm like, no. And so
I would call that the long game. You recognised the long game. You went, okay, I'm not going to do that hedonistic thing of what feels good right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to play the long game, keep the trust, and it works.
And look, it's also the way my mom approached it, right?
Yeah.
I was a third kid, so
Yeah.
while my boyfriend was climbing out of windows, and I
Yeah.
was like, all the trouble you need to go to, I don't have to do any. So I was always like, I never really, you know, I've done some naughty stuff and stuff, but so I'm actually a good girl. So if the narrative says don't do anything with your life and watch Netflix, I get really confused because the fire is in me, and the fire has always been in me. Like, I think I was just born that way. And but I also strongly believe that people need to do something in their lives. Like, what if you on your deathbed and you cannot say, I have made a difference? How fucked up, sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably, well, I just think it's an opportunity lost. I view
it's
birth
a
the
life
same way.
lost. It's a life lost.
It is. I mean,
how many lives actually go lost each day?
Many.
Of people.
I think
I'm
many.
really sorry. Bobon, really sorry. I just had my grandmother passing away, and I'm like, God bless her. Really, God bless her soul, because she was really scared.
Yeah.
But what a life wasted. And she's my grandma.
What would you have wanted for her?
Go to the moon and back.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because the way she passed was in her terror.
That is very saddening.
That was because what happened to her was the narcotics, and she passed during the narcotics. She's scared. She always needed to have a hip replacement, and from young she always said no, because she was too scared. And she actually passed. That was her last. And I do not wish that upon anybody. That's actually really like. She made no difference in my life. I hope nobody of my family is listening to this. No, that's not true. People of my family actually had a very, very, very honest conversation with my cousin back in Belgium. And because I made a text for her at a funeral, and she contacted me and she said, Miek, I don't know how you did it, but it was brilliant, because the text you made was the harsh truth without saying the harsh truth. And it is a life gone to waste. And
we eulogise the dead way too much.
What does that mean?
Eulogise is to say nice things about them because they're dead. I
I
never understand why we do that.
So the entire funeral was led by I know that my auntie will never listen to this, but the entire.
But if she does, she'll hear it with love.
With lots of love.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my dad is in here too, and God bless him, because he's really trying to make the best out of everything. So the entire funeral was around how amazing she was. And so I got the feedback from my brothers as well, and we were like, who is this woman? And this is not to be demeaning towards my grandma, but really ask yourself the question, what am I doing in this life, and how can I make it better? How can I make a difference? I know that if I'm going to die, or when I'm going to die, because if we know, when I'm going to die, I know that I made fuckloads of good food for people, and I've tried to make it accessible in price and in geographics, hopefully soon.
Yes.
For as many people as possible, and I hold my discernment into it. I do not want to become an arrogant. What was that new word? What was that word that
Oh
we?
my gosh, we keep saying we're going to remember it, and I don't.
We need to. I don't want to be arrogant about it and screaming on the buildings like, look at me, what I'm doing. No. I want to hold a discernment and be humble about it.
Oh, navel gazing is what we were talking about.
Yeah, but the other.
Yeah, I know. You gave me the proper one. I just.
Yeah.
We'll put it up here.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the screen. It's a good word.
It's a brilliant word. Yeah.
It's so good we can't remember
brilliant.
it.
And we Googled it and we're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Because too many people do that. Because people are talking about tall poppy syndrome.
Yes.
But what's the opposite of tall poppy syndrome?
Well, I think a lot of people keep themselves small.
Yeah, so, okay, we can talk a lot about tall poppy syndrome. It's true. But it's true, a lot of people, but there is always the yin and the yang, right?
Course.
There's always the yin. I think there is also too many people that blow their horns too hard.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to...
So they're missing substance, essentially. They don't back up what they're saying, so they're all talk. And I think that what you're talking about, we talk about this stuff anyway in our conversations, which we know we're going to record from now on. But it's actually about the energetic signature with that as well. You can actually feel that the words are empty when people say shit, that they just don't walk the talk. They don't have runs on the board. Like, they're talking themselves into something.
Can you feel that?
Which
I don't...
when?
You're saying you can feel...
Oh, yeah, I can feel it. Oh, yeah.
I can't feel that.
I thought you were trying to tap me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm missing.
No,
yeah,
I
feel that.
I sometimes can't feel that.
Oh, no, I can feel the I call it the resonant signature, right? It's the energy they're giving off. And it feels unkind to say you're full of shit, but that's essentially what I feel. I can feel it's disingenuous. And the reason why I don't like calling people out is somewhere in there, some people actually need to fake it till they make it. So when they want to be better people, they need to talk themselves into it, create the neural pathway, and at some point the universe assembles for them as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
And they take that invitation.
That's true too.
But we're talking about the arrogance where people are full of shit and they are missing all the signs.
Or they make, well, in my example, this is just my example, they make a staple food non-accessible by making it non-accessible, as in... I'm going to make it really boutique, where I'm like, no, let's just keep it real. Yeah. I don't know how we got to this point of the conversation.
No, but you're talking $20 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Someone like me with 4 kids and they just inhale bread, I'm not buying $20 bread.
No, and so this is what we were already talking about, that I prefer to think at my deathbed that I was able to give people happy guts.
Yeah.
And put a lot of love. And so this is the other thing, like with my back of house and my front of house, with my staff, the other side that people don't really see that much of. I think it's important that the energy is really good. Yeah. Because when Michael, God bless him, Michael, when he mixes and he's being a dick, well, then he's giving that energy to the bread. It's not good. He needs to mix with... He's going to hate me for saying this. With love. So I like to create like happy place.
We're going to keep softening him.
I like to create like the happy place and the good energy and like let's feed people the right thing, because then you're also like not only giving the right food, but we're also giving the correct energetic profile to the food. And that for me, I think that for me is probably the most important thing. And soil, I think like that's going to be my next kind of venture I'm working on as well. I'm working on a few things, but soil and farming, and because I believe that people are so disconnected from food. People are just disconnected from themselves.
Yes.
Again, ask yourself, why are you here? And for me, it's really that. That's why I'm here. And at the end, and that gives me a lot of energy. And make something of your life. Make something of your life. And
they say that about driven people. They need to be clear on their why.
But I think everybody, look, like you're talking about the people, watching Netflix and. I mean, to a certain extent, okay, watch Netflix.
Yeah, I'm not taking away from that. I'm interested because I see you as just and this is what I want to infuse in women who are about to have a baby, right? Just when you think you are out of energy, right, your energy bucket is empty, you will find another energy bucket or you will find it's deeper than you thought. But the thing that prevents you from accessing it is the belief that you have hit the bottom and of the bucket, not the bottom of your, mental state. And what I see in you is just when the rest of us will be sitting around going, well, that's exhausted, you go, no, it's all right. We've got a little bit further. I found another way. I found more energy. And so I find that so reassuring. It's like you're this living example of, well, why are you guys stopping? I've still got energy. Come on, let's go.
I think Chris, my head baker, by the way, Chris has also been an example to me in that one where he said, sometimes I feel unwell or a little bit, I prefer to just come to work than sit miserable on the couch. And I hold a lot of that because I've kind of, life is an experiment. I kind of experimented that on me. And, there was a certain stage that I was feeling like shit because you've seen me go through hell and back. And then I think you said to me to a certain moment, let's go to the bakery. And I was like, everything was screaming me, I can't go to the bakery. But because I'm a good girl.
Yeah, you followed your order.
I'm like, let's go to the bakery. And then half an hour later, I was all better. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But you move into a creative space, right?
Well, yeah. And because you shift the energy as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need to realize that you're telling yourself really that you can't do more, where actually it's true, you cannot do more unless you tap into something else.
Yeah.
And that's with me, my my obligation in life. Like, I'm like, I can't do more. And I'm like, hold on. I've got this great bread to make. I've got this, I need to be the example. So, bang, that is my little bit of energy pocket that I find. And then afterwards I do need to rejuvenate. And I often don't do that. And that's where it's wrong. That's where it's wrong. That's where, and I think sometimes people misinterpret, I don't know how to say this in English probably, but they misread their own bodies because of their stories.
Yes.
I mean, it's really actually good to just push through.
Yeah.
And then, oh, fuck, yes, that was amazing. Yeah. And then go to the fucking spa.
Well, then you've hit proper exhaustion, right? Rather than just the mind saying,
or you might have...
We're going to break.
Yeah, or you might have not even hit exhaustion and you're like, oh, new energy. But then you have to... Like, the thing with me is that I do have to book it in. Yeah. Because I don't. That's my biggest problem. Because I get a lot of energy on taking the energy. Yeah. And so I'm not going to advise anybody on this podcast to just keep on going like a motherfucker like I do, because it's not great. But pushing through is absolutely, especially for the people that are most of the time watching Netflix on the couch, you'll be fine.
Well, because the thing for those people, and the reason why I wanted to sort of address that is that these are people that are sitting around going, oh, why don't I get anywhere? And it's like, because you've hit that mental ceiling and giving yourself the opportunity to be uncomfortable. But
they also hit the mental ceiling because they're not allowing themselves. Yeah. Oh, why am I not getting there? Because there's a little voice in your head that says that you can't. Yeah. Or you're not worthy, or you're whatever the story is. Yeah. And just stop doing that. Yeah. And that's why
I love when you say that. Just stop that. Yeah, I'll just stop that program.
because you need to think about, why are you on this planet? Yeah. The greater good. Get out of your own fucking way. Why are you on this planet? Like, why am I on this planet? And I'm like, oh shit, sometimes I feel so uncomfortable to be like on Instagram and show my silly face and having my stupid accent and say English bad stuff and whatever. And I'm like, you know what? It's for the greater good.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great motivating tool.
Because I say that to myself. I think
Shut
there's
up. Far more
it's
of
okay.
us that could do better with that because, in fact, what you're tapping into is something that I've been really interested in for quite some time, and that is, I don't think there's any perfect balance, number one, right? So I'll say that as a caveat, but I find it really interesting that I think we all sit on the spectrum of serving self and serving community. So some of us do too much for the community and we deplete ourselves to the point where we're completely run ragged, we've got nothing to show for anything, and we're no longer of service, right? Then there are other people that are so focused on self, they do sweet FA for the community and they're just basically selfish assholes that take from people.
And
right?
they will
So
die and they will have had nothing. And that's not fulfilling. Not fulfilling.
I imagine it doesn't feel great in your deathbed to look back and go, because when you do find that balance and you are balanced, I'm using that obviously with quotations, but when you do that, there is a nourishment of self, but there's a nourishment of the community where you get that reflected to you. And I see that when we are doubting ourselves, that self-talk of saying, hey, let's do this for the community can just be that nudge forward to move into it. It's really powerful. And it's good advice.
And like you said, the community does listen, and actually the community gives you the strength to do that.
Yeah.
And so when I get all the compliments on the bread and everything, that just keeps me going.
Yeah.
And because that's where I find my obligation in. You need to kind of find something you really, it all comes down to that, to the fact that you need to think about what can I do in this world to make this world a better place.
Yeah.
And then focus on that. And that usually has, like you said, an extra little vessel of energy to keep you going, and also to make all the little voices shut up, the voices of insecurity. And look, and that's a great place. That's a great place to be in. It's a great place to be in, and it is, the grass is greener.
Yeah.
That sort of, in that sort of analogy.
Yeah, analogy.
Thank you.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, you speak more languages than I do, so you can butcher English.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So that in that analogy, the grass really is greener on the other side.
And I wonder if people are feeling that in their heart, because they're actually, at that opportunity where they could be stepping into it, they don't. And that in itself is like missing the true north, what your energy essence wants you to do, because I don't think we're here for anything other than the full expression.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
This is why life put you here.
Yeah.
This is what I got out of that book from Paulo, from The Alchemist as well. And I don't know, I can't even remember the book properly. I just remember him sleeping under the stars at a certain moment. But it's the vibe and the kind of things. It just makes you so much happier if you just go further than your own little garden. And it's such a great place to be. And then you live in a world of a lot of jealous people with that are very good in the tall poppy syndrome to break people down. Yeah. But then you have to, again, keep on thinking about why it is you need to be here in a non-arrogant, discerning way. Yeah. Because it needs to be about discernment. It's not about, look at me, I'm so fantastic. Yeah. It's about my job in this world. And then it's about what my dad says. And that is, if you do something, do it right.
Yeah. So you make that commitment and you do hold your word to that commitment that you're here to do. And I think that's so beautiful. Now, I think probably for, particularly it's often women who suffer this kind of, misstep on how to fully express themselves. Like they know what they want to do to help their community, but they just always keep themselves silenced and just go, oh, what if?
But That's the narrative of society.
Yeah.
I think that's an engineered thing.
I would absolutely agree with you, because to be honest, to sit in the divine feminine is to sit in full creative mode. And if you're going to be in full creative mode, you're going to make a fucking mess of this society that's been set up in certain rules, and and that's why I think the shoulds are really interesting, because often when we find that should language coming in, it's like, that's not ours. That's not our truth. That's not what our heart's saying to us. That's not what we know to be the right course of action, or some compelling of doing something that you actually don't want to do. That's the good girl bullshit.
Yeah, that's actually so true.
So do you think you can? I find this so interesting, because we have this world set up where the masculine energy of all the doing and this force and pushing and, like being on the front line and new frontiers. Can you do that and still feel feminine? The dirty laugh.
Oh, this is like the $1 million question.
Do you think you can do that? Do you feel that?
Look, and again, this is so hard. And I was saying, I'm just going to go to this answer with a deviation.
Excellent.
I was saying this, I was at this conversation with the ADHD conversations. I've got no reference points. I don't know how it is to be, and now I'm labeling, I know, but just for the ease of it, I don't know how it is to not be me. I don't know how it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is to not be, not ADHD. I don't know. I don't know how it is to be not full of drive. And so there is this narrative, and you see it on Instagram, and feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and again, I'm trying to be a good girl, and I'm just stressed that I'm doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm actually ready to ditch all of that shit. And just, the truth is, I have to do. And in order to create the feminine, I have to do. And I don't...
Well, birth has that. Birth has that. I mean, to bring forward a child, it's messy, and there's,
Actually,
fluids
that
coming
is
out
true.
of different orifices, and, you get all sweaty and you get grunty, and, there's...
Yeah, that's actually very masculine. It is actually very masculine.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's always everywhere.
Next time I won't ask you the question, I'll answer it myself. I think that's... No, I get that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, because in fact, I do realise that sometimes with these questions, when you say, well, that's just who I am, then that is your perfect expression of who you are. And it's a bit like asking a giraffe, why is your neck long? And he's like, well, I don't know. It's just, it is. It helps me eat those leaves up there. So I can see that actually is not a very intelligent question to ask. It just is. My reframe of this, if you'll indulge me, is can you see in other people when they have that similar drive of that is just their natural expression, and they just...
Yeah, I can.
What do you do for the people that want to do it and just don't? Do you think they can get there?
That they have the drive?
No, they
don't. They don't have the drive.
They have the wish and the inclination and the dreams.
But I do not... So this is what I then, from my frame set, do not understand it. How can you have the drive and not do it?
Yeah, so the drive is missing. It's the wish to do it.
Well, okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, so they have the wish to do it, but they're not doing it. And so I'm then more like, okay, then let me reverse engineer this, because that's then not about masculinity and femininity anymore. It's just, okay, they want to do it and they're not doing it. Well, then something is in their way, and it's usually themselves.
Yeah.
It's just their narrative. Yeah. So, and I do see a lot of people with a drive and they're not doing it. And it's always like, oh gosh, it's because you're telling yourself a story that is not suiting you, whatever that is, whatever it is. Sometimes it's like, I'm not worthy. Sometimes it's like, I'm too scared to do it on my own. Or, I'm actually thinking about people right now. I'm I'm too afraid to do it on my own. Okay, but if you've got that realization that you're too afraid to do it on your own, then challenge yourself and set yourself above it. And there comes the obligation in life again.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, what are you going to do at your deathbed? My grandma was too scared to go into narcosis, like I said before. And she lived her entire life being scared, and she's done nothing.
Oh, she was worried about the painkillers that would have
the
meant
narcosis.
the narcotics. Yeah, so she was worried about that, and that's why she didn't have her hip surgery. Yeah, right, okay. And so then she lived in pain and fear, and that's where we say that life was lost.
Pain and fear, but also extreme selfishness, because everything had to be engineered around her.
Yeah.
And that was really nice, right? Because, you know, everybody is there to serve you. Yeah. And that was also the narrative she grew up in. So, it's a bit more complicated than that, or complex than that. But I see that, and I saw that, and I can reverse engineer this human being. And I'm like, well, if you just have that self-realization, if you just have a good conversation with yourself, not look in the mirror and say, you're really cool. Yeah. But also, what the fuck are you doing wrong to not live your full potential? And how can I do it better?
That is a t-shirt worthy slogan.
Let's remember it. Luckily you're...
like a recording.
Like we recorded. And then you have a job to do. Yeah. You have a job to do. Yeah. Break down that narrative. Like, I'm constantly doing that. You know my deepest fears, right? I constantly challenge that. How can I do it? But to the extreme that I actually go too far that way, that I push myself way too far. Yeah. But I see a lot of people that they don't push themselves at all. Why? Because we live in a world where we we only look at one side. Yeah. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you're worthy. Yeah. But, okay, while you're doing that, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself to go fuck yourself and do it better. Yeah. Because you will be happier if you live in your full potential. Yeah. But that's not easy, and you have to push yourself. So it's not only about you're worthy or I'm worthy. Yeah. It's also like I'm worthy and I'm actually going to do this. And these are my blocks, my blockages, and I'm gonna be gentle. You need to do it in a space where you're extremely self-forgiving, because if you're not self-forgiving and you're self-loading, it's up the top. You cannot move the needle. You need to look at those blocks and say, oh, I love you so much, but you're useless. You're out. Yeah. Now I'm going to push myself further. And then you're on the other side and you're going to say, oh, that was so worth it.
So I feel like when you do that, you're taking yourself back to those baby and toddler years, which we've all experienced, because I'm sure the toddler that's learning to walk isn't there going, oh, fuck, I fell over again. Like, I'm sure they go,
I probably was that.
Lost my, maybe you were, but...
I was like, fuck, fell over again, I need to go.
That's right, that's right, that gives you a get up and go. But my point is that self-critic, that inner critic that seems to just be so prevalent for adults particularly, that have a sense of where they want to go and just aren't taking action on getting there.
You need to treat it with your prefrontal cortex.
Yeah. Which is what, give it tasks?
Logic yourself out of it. Yeah. Logic yourself out of it. Be extremely kind. Don't try to magic that little critic away, because you will never be able to magic away your self-critic. Yeah. But that's fine. It can just sit there.
Yeah, the critic serves.
You don't have to listen to it all the time. You treat it with your prefrontal cortex, with your logic mind, and you just say, hold on. If I just, that doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great, but with a little step. And I was telling my coach this before, I've got no problems to go into pits, financial pits. Yeah. But I always do it in a cautious way, because I'm prefrontal cortex, I'm calculated. In my brain, I know that if I'm going to spend a lot of money, I know that then it will come back to me in tenfold, and it's fine. So I'm there to take a risk. And so this is not only about money, but it's about anything in life. I will take this risk and put myself in my discomfort and in a zone that I, like now with the social media stuff, like, but I know I treat it with my prefrontal cortex, which is basically probably my self-energy, but I'm like, you know what, I know better than my inner critic. And my inner critic is not me, it's just a part of me.
Yeah.
And again, it's allowed to be there. It is absolutely allowed to be there, because if you start hating yourself, it gets really, really messy. You can't do that. I reckon the most successful people love themselves so much.
Even their inner critic. Who is even there to serve them.
And they're like absolute hammers. They're like putting their standards up there, whatever. You can do all of that. You can absolutely do all of that. Gordon Ramsay, you can go... In a kind way, you can do that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, in the narrative, there is also like, oh, if you put a standard there, you have to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
No, put a standard there and do it in a kind way. And just say, that's my standard, and it's really good, and it's an amazing standard to have. Let's see how we can get there. Let's just explore, you know? That's something you taught me as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't remember that. Okay, so I want to bring this to a beautiful close, because there has been so much gold that you have shared. And I think that even with, and I'm sure you'll have some kind of thing of going, I don't have all the answers, but I think you have all of your answers. I know we all have our own answers, but I think you actually do know you have all your answers. So,
I've got all of, not all of them.
Well, you've got a lot of them, and certainly in terms of how to build empires and Faark the Shoulds at the same time, and not do all the things that you're told to do in society, you know, so basically forge based on your truth.
My truth, yes, exactly.
What advice, what would you put on a bumper sticker, on a T-shirt for yourself? Because within that there will be gold for other people.
Do what you need to do and it will be right.
Beautiful. I love it. That's actually nice and tidy. We can fit that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, but it's totally true, because if you do what you need to do, your true obligation in life, you're actually authentic.
Yeah.
You're actually authentic. All these people that are not authentic, that's because they're then too much in their engineered thinking and not their self-thinking.
And trying to be something that they think other people want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do as in your obligation in life.
Yep.
And everybody knows what their obligation is in life deep down. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be massive. It doesn't need to be, it just needs to be your juice. That's where an infinite amount of energy lays. Yeah. And it will be right.
Yeah.
It will be right, and that's when the snowball comes in, and you just let the snowball roll off the mountain while you're doing what you need to do, and it will be right.
Yeah, because you don't need to push it down.
No,
it'll just build and gather momentum. Brilliant! Oh my goodness,
juicy,
so juicy, so
juicy.
Oh, so sexy. Thank you, beautiful Miek, for bringing your wisdom to.
Thank you, beautiful Jodi.
It's really good. Quanta folks, we'll look forward to the next conversation. If you are anywhere in Australia, book a plane, train, or borrow your neighbour's car because fuel's so expensive, and come down to the Bellarine Peninsula and experience Ket Baker.
And this Airbnb.
This beautiful birth sanctuary. And
the bird sanctuary,
The birth sanctuary, and we very much look forward to the next conversation. Go and check out Ket Baker. It is awesome, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you, gorgeous.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Cuddle. Oh.
Hey Quanta folks, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Birth is transformational. And it can be transformational in the right way and in the not so right way. So how do we arm ourselves to be really prepared for this incredible experience? Well, you wouldn't go out and run a marathon without any kind of training. You'd at least do occasional stretches, and the High Vibe Birth course, which is self-paced, available at the QuantiMama.com website, is available for you. You get to luxuriate in all of the ideas and transformational techniques and the beautiful information that can only have a positive effect on your birth. So get fit for your birth marathon and head to QuantiMama for the High Vibe Birth course. Beautiful Quanta folks. You know, at QuantiMama, we have a mandate that we feel so passionate about. We want and we are raising the community's vibration and frequency and consciousness through parenting and birth experiences. Such incredible, transformational experiences that will shape you as a person and are the very fabric of life. Do you want to find out how to high vibe your experience even more? Then QuantiMama is your place. Head there for the High Vibe Birth course, ultimate preparation for birthing. Head there if you want to re-engage your child in the love of learning for the Take the Leap course, which is a deschooling course for parents. There's beautiful mind movies, and obviously this podcast is there, and we are here to support you. So head there for all the juice.